But it's part bus because it looks a little like a bus and even runs on rubber tires. It's also a little like rail transit because it operates on a slim private right-of-way, an expressway. And the idea goes even further, breaking new ground in the field of rapid transit. The cars are light, about 1/3 the weight and size of a rail car. And they're controlled by an entirely automatic computer system, controlled so precisely that they can be run safely at short intervals around the clock. Single cars during the early hours, and multi-car trains at the height of the rush hour, and in all an interesting new concept.
What a great day this is to officially bring Skybus back home. My name's Mike Fetsko. I'm the Vice President of the Americas region for our Systems Division of Bombardier. I want to thank you for being here today to share this special day with those, many in the audience, that have worked on this historic project over 45 years ago. Today we celebrate the restoration and opening of the sole remaining vehicle from the South Park Transit Expressway project, Skybus for short. It operated as a testing and demonstration automated transit system in 1965 for the Allegheny County Fair, just in South Park a few miles down the road, and remained there until the mid-70s. Skybus was a true landmark transit project that was well ahead of its time. It laid the foundation for the world's first automated transit system that was put into service at Tampa International Airport in 1971, and it became the cornerstone for Bombardier's business that you see behind me, which has delivered fully automated transit systems to airports and cities at some 25 locations around the world over the past 40 years. Bombardier's people mover systems have carried over 3 billion passengers and have traveled over 100 million miles. Quite an impressive statistic as we started with the Skybus project back in 1965. It's now a real privilege of mine to ask Mr. Ed Appleby to come up and say a few words about this historic project. Ed was a longtime Westinghouse employee who was the manager for the mechanical design portion of this Skybus project. And as best we know, Ed is the oldest surviving member of the Skybus project team. So let's welcome Mr. Ed Appleby.
Show my ID here, sir. As Mike said, I can't be sure, but I believe that I am the last living person that was totally involved in this project from the very beginning in the development of the new concept, which was represented by this vehicle right here. It was originally given the name Skybus, and it was found out soon after that that was a trademark for one of the airlines, so it had to be renamed, and it was renamed Transit Expressway, and then over the years I believe it morphed into People Mover. It all started from a Pittsburgh area transportation study in 1960. In 1962, I was appointed manager of the mechanical design group for the Westinghouse Transportation Division. And at that time, I had about 16 years with Westinghouse. Well, soon after, there was a rumor that we would be involved in a new concept transit system. It was just an idle rumor, and we just sort of let it float by. And later, probably in early 1963, I was informed an application had been submitted to the U.S. Department of Transportation for a financial grant to develop this new concept system. But at this time, I didn't know what it was. In late 1963 or 64, I was called into our general manager's office there in East Pittsburgh, and present in that office was the general manager, our division engineering manager, and a fellow by the name of George Jordanstead. He was the downtown Westinghouse executive headquarters executive and the top manager for the entire project. And he told me, he said that the grant had been approved, that I was to be the one in charge of the development of the whole vehicle, and that I wasn't allowed to hire any new engineers. I don't know why he told me that. And at that time, I still didn't know what the system was. And it was like, wow, here's something brand new. It's going to be on probably a fast schedule, and there's going to be no time for prototype testing. And soon after that, Mr. Jernstedt set up an independent group labeled the Transportation Systems Group, which was located at the then new Westinghouse Research Laboratory in Churchill Borough. And he made that group responsible for the development of the automatic train operation, the current collection device, the guideway, and they were given marketing responsibility. And this was an independent group, not a part of the Westinghouse Transportation Division, and the system test site was to be at South Park in Allegheny County. But the system concept soon became known. It was to be a self-guided vehicle, automatically controlled, to run on an elevated roadway or a guideway with two concrete strips for the load-bearing wheels and a central guide beam. And to this day, I don't know where that concept came from, but it was a good concept. The major design problems for the vehicle were the suspension and the electrical propulsion system. It took me many weeks to design the suspension system for a single over-the-highway truck axle attached at each end of the vehicle, which had to swivel to go around the curves on the guideway. But we had very experienced electrical project and propulsion control engineers who took care of all the electrical design. The vehicle was styled and sized by Elliott Noyes Associates in Connecticut, because the president at the time of Westinghouse Electric Corporation, Mr. Burnham, came from General Motors and probably had automobile style there. We contracted with the St. Louis Car Company, a rather prestigious car builder at the time, to provide 3 vehicle car bodies, and St. Louis Car then coordinated with them on the body design, and we provided all the drawings to St. Louis Car for all the equipment mountings and the suspension attachments. And I specified that on car number 1, they provide 2 4-foot square floor panels that could be removed so that we could watch and observe the suspension area when the car was running. The first vehicle body came to Pittsburgh in early 1965. It was several weeks before the system, it was fully equipped in East Pittsburgh, and it was delivered to South Park on May 15th, 1965. And it was several weeks before the first system was ready for the first run, but the first run occurred in July of 1965. In August 1965, all 3 vehicles were at the site and running manually. The system was demonstrated to the public during the days of the county fair in August of 1965. Passengers boarded at the South Station and could get off at the North Station to see the facilities there. All 3 vehicles were coupled together during that operation, but were run manually because the automatic train operation system wasn't yet operational. The public was given forms to fill out and ask their opinion of the system, and they got a lot of favorable comments about the system at that time. The ATO system became fully operational probably in September of 1965, and the system was now ready for long-term testing. At this point, the Westinghouse Transportation was barely involved because we only got involved when questions about the vehicle came up. In 1966, the Transportation Systems Group contracted with an independent firm called MPC to evaluate the system. I don't believe it was an established firm, but was instead a group of individuals with the expertise to evaluate the system. They ran tests for several months then and issued a report, a copy of which they have on the table in there today. And it issued a report which was very favorable to the system. No serious defects were found, and they even gave suggestions for improving the situation. But in 1966, then I had to leave the Transit Expressway program because of very important rail transit contracts we received. And in 1969, just before we left East Pittsburgh, we received the Tampa order, the first major order. And about 2 years later, we received the Seattle-Tacoma Airport order. So the Transit Expressway, or People Mover system, was now accepted, and if not, and maybe even essential for airport development, and also was in line for special purpose applications. Well, this is an abbreviated history, early history, as I remember going back 48 years. Some of this information not be entirely accurate because my memory can't possibly be as good as I think it is. An important consideration here is that this system was developed right here in the Pittsburgh area with Pittsburgh area people. And in any transit system, most people only know about the vehicle they see and ride. This vehicle was unusual, distinctive, different, and deserves its place in history. It is the humble beginning of your present People Mover system, and through the process of evolution has become the premier People Mover system in the whole wide world. Then there is the person who brought about this revival. And his name is Doug Brendel. I first met him, get my place here, at the Hall Industries plant last April after his initial research had found this vehicle. It had been lost in time. I knew that one of the first three vehicles had survived, and one of them was displayed at Station Square for quite a long time, but I never saw it there. I asked Doug how he became involved with this vehicle. And I just remember he said that he got interested in the Skybus history. The Skybus it's changed the Transit Expressway, but it was like a magic name. Nobody can ever let go of the word Skybus. So he founded it at Hall Industries, but I found out he never had any connection to any of the companies involved. While I was talking to him there, I judged his age to be probably in the 40s, and asked if he had ever ridden on the system. And to my surprise, he said yes. And so then I asked him, I said, what age were you when you were riding the system? He said, I was 5 years old. So he's put a ton of work into this revival, worthy of a professional historian, and I give him my heartfelt thanks for the huge amount of time and effort that he spent to bring this about today, and also my thanks to Bombardier for putting all the effort and the money in this to bring about this event here today. And I have to tell you, I feel blessed to be here today at age 88 and to tell you about this history. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed, for your comments. It's a real honor for us to have you come and speak to us today. There are a lot of people to thank.
You deserve a lot of credit.
There are a lot of people to thank for bringing the Skybus vehicle back to life. So let me go through the names. I've got a list. It's going to take a few minutes. Let's hold our applause to the end, if I could ask you to do that. First, Harold Hall from Hall Industries, who really rescued this last car from Allegheny County and was gracious enough to transfer it to Bombardier. Ed mentioned Doug Brendel, who probably is notably the most renowned Skybus historian in the world, we'll say today. Thank you, Doug. He provided a lot of technical support and guidance throughout the entire restoration process. I want to recognize our friends from the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum, Scott Becker, Ed Leibarger, Bill Frachek, and Bill Wells. They were very instrumental in sharing a lot of historical Skybus archives dated back to 1965. Most notably, when you walk in the car and you saw the footage that was playing in the cafeteria, we have the same footage that will run on a continuous spool in the car. I want to recognize some current and former colleagues of mine at Bombardier: Bill Seeger, Art Bissig, Ed Gordon, Harold West, Dave Hamley. All played key roles on the Skybus team, longtime Westinghouse employees that have a lot of history and a lot of hours tied up in the vehicle behind us. Harriet Green, who is here, the daughter of the late Dixie Howe. Dixie Howe was the Westinghouse Skybus project manager. I'd like to recognize Ed Nowak. Ed Nowak and his team at Nowak Commercial Refinishing did an absolutely superb job, which you'll see in a minute, in vehicle preparation and restoring the outside of the car. Alan Schulteis, Ed Cruzy, Sam Sergi, Rick Sporio, Tony Tardio, Ken Robes, George Krivojansky, Wayne Krivojansky. You guys do a super job every day. My appreciation to you for the hard work you guys put in over the last couple months to make this whole area look the way it is. Kathy Kelp, thank you for everything you did on the communications front, including the footage that you see in the car. And Sherry Steffen and Leanne Howard, thanks again for all the coordination and planning. Last but not least, I'd like to recognize my colleagues at Bombardier, many of who have traveled from various places all over the world to be with us today. So I want to thank you for being here as well to share the day with us. So without further ado, it's Bombardier's privilege to unveil Skybus. So that concludes the ceremony. Thank you again for being here, and at your convenience, please stay around, and you're more than welcome to visit the inside of the car. Thanks again.
And I had one in my back for about 2 months. Yeah. So I took it. But the fun part was Jimmy, hit the deck.